Police in Conway revealing more details on that deadly park shooting from over the weekend. What we're now learning about the victims as the investigation continues. And a bill that would eliminate the Arkansas state grocery tax working its way through the legislature. Closer look at this, how this would impact your trip to the grocery store.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News First at 4.
We begin with new information from Conway and that deadly shooting during a large party at a park on Sunday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Darren Bobb. The city's mayor and police holding a news conference today. 2 people died, 9 others were injured with gunshot wounds in the shooting at the 5th Avenue Park. We are now learning that 24-year-old Tatiana Pinister from England, Arkansas, and 23-year-old Demetrius Feemster from Little Rock were killed. Police confirming at least 6 different weapons were used and around 100 rounds were fired. Conway Mayor Bart Castleberry says the event was planned by a promoter who was not from Conway. Conway Police Chief says the U.S. Marshals of the Eastern District of Arkansas continue to follow up on any leads to work to find out who's responsible.
Of the 9 surviving victims who sustained gunshot wounds, 1 remains in serious condition. And as the latest update that I received, is recovering in ICU following surgery. The remaining 8 victims suffered non-life-threatening injuries.
Conway PD says they will continue investigation and will provide any updates as it gets them.
Another really nice day out there, picture perfect, right? Beautiful blue skies, comfortable temperatures. Right now, we're sitting at 66 in Fayetteville, down to 63 Bentonville, 72 the current temperature in Fort Smith. Really comfortable the next several hours. This is what you can expect going into this evening. Those numbers largely going to be in the 60s through about the 8 o'clock hour. Then we'll start our descent down into the 40s. Clear skies all night long. Light breeze out of the north right now. While you're asleep, that breeze is going to be transitioning to more of a southerly wind. And while, yeah, it's going to still get cool by tomorrow morning, you might want that light jacket out the front door. With that southerly wind tomorrow, we're talking about another mild day, warmer than the last several, and that warming trend continues. Meanwhile, I'm tracking the winds. I know it's been so windy lately. That's going to be a problem for us by Thursday, all leading up to our rain and thunderstorm chance, and that continues well into your Easter weekend. The latest forecast for that in just a few.
All right, Scott, thanks. We're getting a closer look tonight at how much you could save at the grocery store without an Arkansas state grocery tax. Right now, when you buy grocery items, you're taxed at about 12.5% for every $100 you spend. A bill, though, eliminating the state grocery tax has passed both the House and Senate and just needs the governor's signature to become law. Area lawmakers say the bill will save Arkansans about $10 million a year, but it is important to note that not all of the taxes on your groceries will go away.
When we go up this messaging saying the state's eliminating your tax on groceries, people think that it will be zero, but the state's eliminating what we can control on your groceries. Your local cities and your local counties are still in Arkansas taxing your groceries, so there will still be a little bit.
Bill sponsor Senator Bart Hester says buying groceries affects everyone regardless of income. If the governor signs the measure, it will go into effect on January 1st. New at 4, the League of Women Voters facing another setback for a proposed ballot measure in Arkansas. Attorney General Tim Griffin has rejected it again, although Griffin says several issues he had with the first proposal were resolved. He says aspects of this ballot title review process outlined in the initiative were, quote, misleading. The group says it is reviewing the AG's opinion and will submit a revised proposal as soon as possible. There is a new hearing today concerning the man deported to El Salvador who has had the Supreme Court weigh in on the case. As that unfolds, President Trump is doubling down on his fight with Harvard after the White House announced a freeze on more than $2 billion in grants to that institution. Erica Brown has the story.
A day after the White House announced it's freezing $2.2 billion in grants to Harvard University and $60 million in contracts, President Trump went further, writing on social media that perhaps Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity.
All the president is asking, don't break federal law, and then you can have your federal funding.
It comes after Harvard rejected a list of Trump administration demands, including ending DEI policies and enacting new student discipline measures, saying they were insufficient for those participating in pro-Palestinian campus protests.
Harvard should apologize for the egregious anti-Semitism that took place on their college campus against Jewish American students.
Harvard warned without federal funding, cutting-edge medical, scientific, and technological research will come to a halt midstream.
It's not just that things have been stopped cold, which a lot of it has, like one day they're doing research and then the next day they can't. It's also the fact that they can't plan.
Also today, there is a new hearing concerning the Maryland man the White House acknowledges was deported to El Salvador after an administrative error. Attorneys for Kilmar Abrego Garcia wrote in a court filing that the Trump administration has to at least request their client's return from El Salvador to comply with last week's Supreme Court order. The White House maintains he's a gang member, even though he was never charged or convicted of a crime. At the White House Monday, the president of El Salvador made it clear he has no intention of returning Abrego Garcia. The case could return to the High Court. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
White House says even if Abrego Garcia is brought back to the U.S., he will get deported again. Well, today is the deadline for most U.S. taxpayers to file federal taxes, unless you live in one of more than a dozen states where the IRS has extended that deadline. People in states like Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Los Angeles County in California were granted a later deadline because of natural disasters in recent months. All taxpayers can request an extension from the IRS, which would give them until mid-October to file taxes. It's been delayed for years, but the Real ID deadline is finally here. You've got just 3 weeks now to update your license or risk missing your flight or access to important federal buildings. With that deadline approaching in 3 weeks, DMV offices nationwide seeing a last-minute rush. More than 19 million have been issued, but that's still only half of all drivers. Without one, you won't be able to fly domestically or access federal buildings. DMV offices are opening early, but your fastest bet is applying online and then booking an appointment. Today marks 113 years since the day the Titanic sank in the North Atlantic, taking with it more than 1,500 lives. For more than 70 years, the wreck of the Titanic lay undisturbed on the bottom of the ocean floor. Then in 1985, advances in deep-sea technology led to its discovery by a Franco-American expedition. Some parts of Southern California cleaning up after that 5.2 magnitude earthquake shook areas near San Diego, and now there are concerns about possible aftershocks. Derek Waller is here now with new video showing the moment that quake hit.
The cat felt it first. Then Ashley Pinnock grabs her baby Michael and bolts outside.
We have a large beam that runs through the center of our house, and I heard a cracking noise. And so my first instinct was to get out because I didn't want to be underneath that beam.
Quick thinking from residents in San Diego County, California, after that 5.2 magnitude quake rocked neighborhoods Monday morning.
We felt the whole house start to shake, and we ran into the driveway because the house was shaking so bad we didn't know if it would be safe even in the doorway.
Security cameras captured elephants on alert at the San Diego Zoo. The quake startling dogs inside this home and even waking up this baby. The tremor also knocked bottles off the wall at this liquor store in Julian.
It was like a 2 minutes. I went to go hit the restroom and whatnot, and like instantaneously, like just the aggressive shaking, and I started hearing all like the popping of the bottles hitting the ground.
Now possible aftershocks, and seismologist Lucy Jones says there is a small chance of an even bigger quake to follow.
19 out of 20 times what you're seeing is the biggest one. 1 out of 20 times it's followed by something bigger.
Today we had the most damage that we've ever had, but none of the staff was hurt, and they handled it quite well.
Neighbors left with damage to clean up, but thankfully it wasn't worse. Derek Waller, CBS News.
Believe it or not, it's been 6 years since that devastating fire ripped through the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. You may remember it destroyed the historic spire, caused much of the roof to collapse. At the time, French President Emmanuel Macron vowed to rebuild within 5 years. Took a few extra months, but eventually reopened at the end of last year. Sam's Club hosting its 4th annual nationwide day of service today. Hundreds of Sam's Club associates in Northwest Arkansas got out and volunteered at dozens of local nonprofits today. That includes more than 150 people at the Clover Community Center, where they are building a garden classroom for students.
So we have about 150 associates out here today. They are weeding and digging and leveling and building raised beds so that the children have a full garden that they can have outdoor lessons and enjoy.
In addition to the volunteer work, Sam's Club awarded a $10 matching grant for every hour volunteered by each associate.